Good day once again. We'll now proceed to our next lesson about functions. Before going to our discussion about functions, let us first look at the term relation. Okay, when we say relation, generally that is just how connected two things are. For example, your mood is connected or related to the number of hours of your sleep. Pwede din naman, your energy level is also connected to the food you eat. So there's some certain kind of relation or meron siyang connection. So generally, when we say relation, meron siyang connection. In everyday phenomena, that is very common. Things are seen to be related to each other. Now in mathematics, these relations are often represented by mathematical equations and formulas. Okay, we model these relations or these relationships by way of expressing it through mathematical equations and formulas. Okay, so punta tayo sa function. Functions are just relations or a special kinds of relation. So ano kaya yung pagkakaiba or ano kaya yung function? So this is the definition of a function. A function f from a set A to a set B. So for example, this is our set A, this is our set B, is a relation that assigns to each element x in set A, in the set A, exactly one element y in the set B. Okay. The set A is the domain, these are the domain, or this is the domain, or set of inputs of the function f, and set B contains a range, or this is the range, or the set of outputs. Okay. Ito yung keyword sa definition ng function. It assigns exactly one element in y in set B. So that means yung nilagay mong input will result to a single output. Then that is a function. But if your input produces or creates or produces two outputs or two or more outputs, then that is not a function. Okay? So meaning many inputs to one output or one input to one output. So exactly one element lang dapat yung lalabas sa output or sa set B. So for this example, when you input 1, the result is 9, nothing else. Then that's a function. Yung relationship nila or the relation is a function. So if you input 2, the result is 3. If you input 4, the result is 15. If you input 3, the result is 15. Although common yung 4 at saka 3, common yung output ng 4 and 3, but if you input 4, 15 lang lalabas but nothing else. It's not a function if you input 4, then you have two results here. That is not a function. Okay, so generally that is what functions is, or that's what functions are. So here's the characteristic of a function from set A to set B. Number 1, each element in A must be matched with an element of B. Okay? Meaning, dapat related sila. Number 2, each element in B may not be matched with any element of A. So, pwedeng wala siyang, yung element sa B, wala siyang kamatch dun sa A. Number 3, two or more elements in A. By the way, we are describing this characteristic of the function describing this figure. So, eto, asa na tayo? Number 3, two or more elements in A may be matched with the same element in B. Diba? Pwede. So, eto, 4 to 15, 3, 15 din. So, that's okay because at least unique pa rin or isa pa rin yung lalabas na result. An element in A or the domain cannot be matched with two different elements in B. So, that is not a function. Example nito. Example of some functions. Let's say the temperature. The temperature is a function of the, let's say, date. Of course, the date is connected to the season. So, yung temperature depends on what the date is. So, yung input natin dito is the date. So, nakadepende yung temperature dun sa date. Pero di naman pwede na yung date nakadepende sa temperature. Meaning, pag malamig pala, magdidepende dun yung date. So, di pwedeng ma-reverse. Okay? For example, another form of a function, or example of function, yung age. Oh, no, baliktad. The height, dito. The height is a function, or your height is a function of your age. Your height is function of your age, di ba? So, yung height mo nakadepende kung ano yung edad mo. Di naman pwede na yung edad mo didepende sa height mo. Kung di ka lumaki, ibig sabihin ba di ka rin tatanda. So that yun yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay? So yun yung function generally. Let's take a look at this. Testing functions represented algebraically. So let's call this problem 10. 1. Shopee. Which of the equations represents y as a function of x? So, titingnan natin asan dito yung function y as a function of x. Or we are looking at alin dito yung y equal to a function of x. Or we read this as f of x. Okay? For number 1, if we solve for y, or I mean letter A, if we solve for y, this will become y equals 1 minus x squared. Okay? So, this is a function, or this describes y as a function of x, because for any value of x, any real value of x, that will result to a single or unique value of y. Okay, then that is a function. For example, if you input here 0, doon lang tayo sa maliliit na number para madaling i-compute sa mind. If you input here 0, the result of y is 1. Diba? If you input here 1, the result is 0, nothing else. Diba? So there's a one-to-one correspondence in this particular example. For letter B naman, if we solve for y, that would become y squared is equal to x plus 1. And if you notice, there, if for any value, for any real value of x, of course may restriction kasi kailangan natin mag-square root mamaya, or kailangan natin mag-square root. For any value of x, there are two values for y. Diba? By the way, x cannot be greater than 1. Less than negative 1, kasi that would make this value negative and we cannot extract the root anymore. But anyway, y is not a function of x in this particular example. Kasi, for example, if we input here, eto na lang, if we input here 3, the result would be 4. And the square root of 4 is positive and negative 2. So, dalawa yung value ng y. So, it's no longer unique anymore. Again, sa function, ulit natin sa definitions ng function, it should assign for each element in x, exactly one element in y. So, dapat isa lang yung lalabas sa y. And meron din tayo, siguro sa high school, you learned about the vertical line test. So, if you graph this, actually, this is a graph of we will discuss this pagdating natin sa analytic geometry. This is the graph. The graph of this function is just a parabola opening downward. Okay? And the graph of this function is a parabola opening to the right. So, sa high school kasi, if yung tinuro sa atin na we do the vertical line test, dapat isang beses lang siya magko-cross. Diba? Kung mag-drawing tayo ng vertical line at any point, dapat isang beses lang siya magko-cross. So, this is a function. Pero ito, pag drawing tayo ng vertical line, dalawang beses siya nag-cross, then this is not a function. So, ganun lang yan. Vertical line test. Anyway, after discussing about polynomial functions, we will be dealing with graphing functions. So, let's try to look at problem 10-2, evaluating a function. So, let g of x be equal to this function and find each function value. So, evaluating function is simply substituting. Okay, so if you notice, our function is g of x, and if we evaluate this, that would mean we replace x with 2. So, ganun lang gagawin sa whole function. So, for letter A, we have, sulat muna natin, g of x is equal to negative x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay, then if we replace 4x, that would be negative 2 squared plus 4 times 2 plus 1. Wait, dapat ayusin ko yung penmanship. So, that would become, wait, ayusin natin, nakakahiya. Wait. Okay, that would become, dito na lang, negative 4. By the way, yung ni-raise natin to 2 is just 2. Di kasali yung negative. Nasa labas siya. Unless nakaganon siya. So, dapat kasali yung negative. But in this case, labas yung negative. So, negative 4 plus 8 plus 1. So, that would be 5. Tama ba? So, this is 4 plus 1, 5. For letter B, we have G sub T, or G of T. So, G of T is equal to, replace lang X with T. So, negative T squared plus 4T plus 1. Ganun siya kadali. For letter C naman, yung X, i-replace natin with X plus 2. So, that would become, parang composite function na siya. By the way, we'll just keep composite functions or combining two functions kasi masyado namang madali para makaproceed na tayo sa next subject, analytical geometry, by next week. Okay, so if we replace x with g plus 2, that would become negative. So yung x natin, gagawin natin x plus 2 squared plus 4. Again, yung x, gagawin x plus 2 plus 1. Then we need to simplify. So this, expand lang natin, x squared plus 2x plus 4. Ano? Mali. X squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 4x plus 8 plus 1. So that would become negative x squared minus 4x minus 4 plus 4x plus 8 plus 1. So we can cancel this out. So we'll have na tayong space dito. We'll have negative x squared tapos minus 4 plus 8 plus 1. So this is 4 plus 1, 5 plus 5. So that would be our answer. So G sub x plus 2 is x minus 5. Okay, how about this? Piecewise defined function. When we say piecewise, para siyang may dalawang condition. Okay? Excuse me. So, let us evaluate the function when x is equal to negative 1, 0, and 1 if the function is defined as this. The function is defined as this. X squared plus 1 when x is less than 0. Then x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 0. So, may condition yung ano natin. Yung function daw is may condition siya. Meron siyang condition. Okay. So, let's start with f of negative 1. So, let's start with this. So, negative 1 is less than 0. So, therefore, ito yung gagamitin nating function. So, that would be equal to negative 1 squared plus 1. So, we are using this function. Okay, or this value because that is the condition. So, that would become 2. So, this is 1 plus 1, 2. Next is for f of 0. So, since x is equal to 0, so ito yung gagamitin natin condition because if x is greater than or equal to 0, we use this. So, therefore, we just use x minus 1 or 0 minus 1. So, the answer is negative 1. Then, for f of 1, again, f of 1 is 1 is greater than 0. So, we'll use this. So, that would be 1 minus 1. The result is 0. Yan. So, ganun lang siya. So, yung piecewise function, parang may condition lang siya. And that is very useful pagdating natin sa calculus. As well as those other functions like signum functions or absolute values, Magagamit natin yan pagdating natin sa calculus. But we will discuss those functions siguro doon na, sa calculus na mismo. So let's now proceed to problem 10-4. Finding values for which f of x is equal to 0. Ayun. So madali lang naman, no? F of x is equal to 0. That means we just replace f of x to 0. So napakadali. For letter A, we have 0 equals negative 2 plus 10. So therefore, 2x is equal to 10. By the way, you know the rules of algebra. Madali lang naman. Ito, I just transpose it to the other side. So I'll have 2x equals 10. Then divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 5. Napakadali. Ay, sobrang dali. So, pangalawa, we have 0 is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. Or baliktarin natin, x squared. Ba't ang pangit parang penmanship ko? Although I'm trying. So, x squared, ayusin natin, minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. In this case, meron tayong quadratic equation. So, it will either use quadratic formula or computing the squares. Or simply factoring, no? The factors of 6 is negative 3 and negative 2. And negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. So therefore, using factoring, x minus 5, x minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. Okay. What value, factor na siya, etong value times etong value. So, para maging 0 to, just using common sense, no? Para maging 0 to, either of these should be 0. So, when this is 0, so when, or if, gamit tayo ng if x minus 3 is 0, therefore, x should be 3. And if x minus 2 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 2. Diba? Common sense lang. Kasi para maging 0 yung value nito, ng dalawang factor, dapat yung isang factor dyan is 0. So, kung ito yung 0, dapat yung x 3. Then, kung ito yung 0, dapat yung x 2. O, ganun lang kadali. So, therefore, for letter B, we have two values of x, which are 3 and 2. And, ito siya, this is just a preview of our discussion about zeros of a polynomial. Meaning, we equate a polynomial into 0. So, ganun lang kadali. Sobrang dali. We will now proceed to polynomial functions of higher degree. Okay. Yung unang examples natin are just first degree or linear functions and quadratic functions or second degree. So, how about kung higher degree pa? So, first, we'll take a look at graphs of polynomial functions. But yung way of graphing, we will discuss that probably at the next lesson. So, in this section, let me read first. In this section, you will study basic features of graphs of polynomial functions. The first feature of the graph of a polynomial function is continuous. Okay, take a look at this. This is a graph of a continuous function. So, tuloy-tuloy lang yung function natin. Apparently, yung pointer ko hindi tuloy-tuloy. Anyway, this is just a continuous function. Essentially, this means that the graph of a polynomial function has no breaks, holes, or gaps, as shown in the figure. By the way, I have mentioned about a hole or a gap dun sa lesson natin when we were describing domain, di ba? So, again, babalikan din natin yan. Yung concept na yan dito. So, this is a continuous function. So, the next function, so letter B, is an example of a piecewise defined function. So, ito yung, this is similar to kaninang sinolve natin piecewise, may condition siya. May condition. Iba yung formula dito, iba yung function dito, iba din yung function dito. Okay? So, ito yung piecewise kanina. When x is less than whatever it is value, when x is less than or equal to that value, ito yung formula niya. Or yung formula is represented by this. Then, if x is greater than etong value, whatever is this value, then ito yung formula niya. Yun yung mukha ng function, ng piecewise function. Okay, how about these? Polynomial functions have graphs that with smooth, rounded turns. Etong mga functions na to, or etong mga turns niya, we will be discussing that more of that probably pagdating natin sa calculus, mas maintindihan natin. Then, ito naman, this is the graph of an absolute value. So, the function absolute value of x is syempre, kung positive yung x, positive pa rin yung value ng function. Kung negative yung x, positive pa rin yung value ng function. So, yan yung graph ng absolute value. Okay? But in order to graph polynomial functions, we need to learn some things. Okay. Number one is, look at this function. This continuous function crossed the x and the y axis. It crossed the x-axis here and it crossed the y-axis here. So we need to learn how to find the values of the function when it crosses the x-axis or the y-axis. So these are called the intercepts, the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And in order to know how to do that, or in order to do that, we need to learn about the zeros of a polynomial. Diba? Kasi ito yung function that will give the value 0. Dito. Or ito yung value that will make the function 0. Okay? Okay, before we proceed to graphing polynomial functions, let us first learn about division of polynomials. So let's start with long division. So let's call this problem 10-5. Divide 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4 by x minus 2 and use the result to factor the polynomial completely. Okay, so we do it like this. First, sa problem, we are asked to divide this by this. So since the problem is asking us for to do this by long division, so ito yung procedure na gagawin natin. First, let me write it this way. So I write it this way. So the procedure for long division is like this. First, look at the first term. The term containing the highest degree. So first, eto, i-divide natin dito. So 6x cubed divided by x. So that would be 6x squared. Then 6x squared multiplied by x, that would be 6x cubed. Then 6x squared divided by, multiplied by negative 2, that would be negative 12x squared. Then you subtract. Parang similar pa rin dun sa long division of whole numbers or integers. So first we subtract these two terms, so 6x cubed minus 6x cubed, so that's 0. Then we subtract this from this, so minus or negative 9x squared minus negative 12x squared, so that's negative 19, sorry, it should be 19. Negative 19x squared minus negative 12x squared. So negative 19 plus 12, that would be negative 7. So, negative 7x squared. Then, the same procedure, i-repeat lang natin. But before that, i-bring down muna natin tong next term. So, plus 16x. So, negative 7x squared divided by x is negative 7x. Then, negative 7x times x, that would be negative 7x squared. Then, negative 7x times negative 2 is positive 14x. Then we divided, we minus again, or subtract again. So this would be 0 and this would be 16x minus 14x. So the answer is 2x. Then we bring down the next term, which is negative 4. So 2x divided by x is 2. Then 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And if you notice, there's no remainder. This is just 0 because this is 0 and this is 0 if we subtract. So therefore, the quotient, when you divide 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4 by x minus 2, the quotient is this, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Now we notice that the remainder is 0, or there's no remainder for the quotient of this polynomial, or this expression to this expression by this expression. Okay, so therefore, ang x minus 2 is a factor of this. Diba? So, if we rewrite this, that would be 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4 is equal to 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 times x minus 2. So, this is same as factoring this to this. And by the way, we could factor this further. Ito, this is still factorable to 3x, 2x, then factors of positive 2 is 2 and 1, and I think this would be 2 and this would be 1, because 2 times 2 is 4, negative 4, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, negative 4 plus negative 3 is negative 7. Ayan. So ito, so therefore the factor of this is the complete factorization of this expression for third degree polynomial is 3x minus 2 times 2x minus 1 times x minus 2. Okay, so that's it. So that is long division. So I just review, or just replay the process of long division. Now, let us take a look at this definition. So this is the division algorithm. The division algorithm is this. If f of x and d of x are polynomials such that d of x is not equal to 0, and the degree of d of x is less than or equal to the degree of f of x, there exist unique polynomials q of x and r of x such that f of x is equal to d of x times q of x plus r of x, wherein f of x is the dividend, d of x is the divisor, and q of x is the quotient, and r of x is the remainder. Okay. By the way, d of x cannot be equal to 0 kasi masi-0 to siya. Diba? Wala na siyang value. Let's relate that to our example. Okay. So this is now how I wrote the division algorithm. So this is our function, that is the dividend. This is f of x. So that is equal to, eto siya ang d of x, yung divisor natin. Then eto yung q of x. By the way, just commutative property of multiplication, diba? Pwedeng ibaliktad lang. Eto. Then we have a remainder here which is 0, diba? Ito yung remainder 0, kaya hindi na nakasulat dito. This is now r of x. So that is the division algorithm. Okay? So sabi dito, where r of x is equal to 0, or the degree of r of x is less than the degree of d of x. So that's just the remainder. So kung equal to 0 siya, meaning it completely, or the divisor completely divides the dividend, then wala siyang remainder, or the remainder is 0. So the division algorithm could also be written like this. We just divided all terms by d of x. So divide all terms by d of x, or pwedeng transpose yung d of x to the other side of the equation. So we cancel this out. So eto yung lumabas. So eto siya, this one, this form, eto yung pagkasulat ko dito. Eto. Diba? So eto yung f of x over d of x. Okay? Then the result is this. So the result is q of x plus 0 over x minus 2. 0 din naman siya. Okay, so that's a division algorithm. Okay, let's try this example and let's apply this form, the division algorithm in this form. So let's call this problem 10 dash, I think it's already 6, 10 dash 6. So let me rewrite the polynomial. If you notice, this is not arranged properly. So dapat nauna yung highest degree. Oh, sorry, ito yung highest degree. So let us rewrite that to 2x raised to 4 plus 4x cubed. Then yung susunod is wala siyang negative 5x squared plus 3x minus 2. Let me check that. 2x raised to 4, 4x cubed, 5x squared, 3x, and negative 2. Then the problem is asking us to divide that by this one, this polynomial. So again, i-arrange natin. Nauna yung x squared plus 2x then minus 3. Okay, continue tayo. So the same procedure in dividing polynomials. We start with this divided by this. So that would be 2x squared. Then 2x squared times x squared, that would be 2x raised to 4. Then 2x squared multiplied by, dito na tayo second term, 2x, that would be 4x cubed. Then this multiplied by this, that would be negative 6x squared. Negative 6x squared. Then we divide. Oops, wrong tool. We divide. So, no, we subtract. So, we subtract this from etong tatlong terms. So, this minus this is just 0. This minus this, you notice, 0 din siya. Then, this minus this, that would be negative 5x squared minus negative 6x squared. So, that would be x squared na lang, or 6x squared minus 5x squared. So, 6x, x squared na lang siya dyan. Then, let's bring down 3x. Let's bring down 3x. So, plus 3x tayo dito. So, next natin is this divided by, by the way, we could also bring down negative 2. Mamaya na lang. So, ito lang muna. X squared divided by x squared is just 1. So, plus, dito tayong place value, plus 1. Then 1 times this is just x squared. Then 1 times this is just 2x. And ito pa, 1 times this is just negative 3. So dapat pala, i-bring down na lang natin to dito. So, yan, ilagay na natin siya dyan. Okay. Then, again, subtract this minus this, cancel out. So, 3x minus 2x is x. And negative 2 minus negative 3, that's 1. Positive 1. So, plus 1. So, this is now our remainder. We cannot divide this by this anymore because this is first degree raised to 1. This is second degree raised to 2. So, mas malaki yung degree ng divisor. So, this would be our remainder now. Okay? So, if we rewrite in division algorithm form, paano yun? F of x over the divisor equal to the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. So therefore, 2x, copy-paste ko na lang. Therefore, this over this, yan, medyo lagging. Ayan. Ayusin natin. There. Is equal to the quotient. So the quotient is 2x squared plus 1 plus the remainder x plus 1. Ayusin natin ulit. Plus the remainder x plus 1 divided by the quotient, the divisor, I mean, x squared plus 2x minus 3. So this is now our answer. Di maklaro ito. So that is now our answer. Okay? Now, another way of dividing polynomials is by using synthetic division. So I'll just explain as we go along the process of synthetic division. Let's call this problem 10-7. I think it's 7. So use synthetic division to divide x raised to 4 minus 10x squared minus 2x plus 4 divided by, divided by x plus 3. So how do we do synthetic division? So for synthetic division, we just write in an array the coefficients of the polynomial, or if it's a function, of a function. Okay? Again, in descending order ng degree of the variable. Okay? So we'll start with the coefficient of x raised to 4. So the coefficient of x raised to 4 is 1. Then sunod is the coefficient of x cubed. Pero wala siyang x cubed sa dividend natin. So meaning coefficient nun is 0 kasi wala. Then sunod is for x squared, which is negative 10. Then for x, that would be negative 2. Then the constant is 4. And we need to divide this by x plus 3. Okay. So, sa x plus 3 naman, we look at it like this. X plus 3 equal, kung factor to siya, if ever this is a factor to be equal to 0, so x should be equal to negative 3. So, ito yung i-divide natin. By the way, we will link this mamaya sa zero of a polynomial, which uses the remainder theorem. Okay? So, yeah, I will explain that further mamaya. So, you divide this by x plus 3. So, ang nilalagay natin dito is negative 3. Again, yung negative 3 is galing sa x plus 3 equals 0, x equal to negative 3. Okay? Okay. The synthetic division goes like this. First, we bring down the first term. That would be 1. Then we multiply 1 times, pointer lang dapat. Multiply 1 times negative 3. So, that would be negative 3. Then we add, that would be negative 3. Then we multiply again, that would be positive 9. Then we add, that would be negative 1. Then we multiply again, that would be positive 3. Then we add, that would be 1. Then we multiply again, so ganun lang yung process, that would be negative 3. Then we add, finally, that would be 1. Okay. So therefore, ito yung pagsulat natin or pagkasulat ng answer. Therefore, x raised to 4 minus 10x squared minus 2x plus 4 over x plus 3 is equal to the quotient. Ito yung titingnan natin na quotient. Yung degree ng dividend natin is 4th degree. So the since we are dividing it by a first degree equation, so we have x raised to 4, you divide it by x, the result is x raised to 3. So same way dito, we have a 4th degree polynomial divided by a first degree polynomial, the result is a 3rd degree polynomial. So therefore, the quotient here, this is the coefficient of the 3rd order or the 3rd degree na variable ng x, or x, 3rd degree na x. So that would be x raised to 3 minus, eto yung sunod is 4x squared. Minus, eto yung para sa x, then we have the constant 1. So eto na yon, eto, then this, then this. Then, eto yung remainder natin. So plus the remainder 1 divided by the divisor, which is x plus 3. So this is now the division algorithm form. Okay? Now, I have mentioned kanina about dito. Why is this x equal to negative 3? So, we will follow this up by this theorem, the remainder theorem. Okay, let me look for the notes here. Okay, this is the remainder theorem. If a polynomial f of x is divided by x minus k, the remainder is r equal to f of k. Okay, okay. Ulit natin ha. If a polynomial f of x, so ito na lang, di ba? This is f of x, then this is d of x. So a polynomial f of x divided by x minus k. So this is now our divisor. So x minus k. So this is our x minus k. So our k is negative 3, right? The remainder is r equal to the function of k. So therefore, if we substitute eto, di ba? If this is x minus k, so therefore, ang atong k is negative 3. Di ba? So, if yung k natin negative 3, if we substitute negative 3 to this polynomial, the result daw is the remainder. So that is the remainder theorem. Let us try to check. So we have, let me copy this na lang. So let's check if tama yung theorem. So therefore, we say that ang k natin dito is negative 3. Ito siya. Galing siya dito. That's x. Or ganito na lang para kasi baka medyo magulo kung gagamit pa tayo ng k. Yun na lang sinabi ko kanina. It's a safe. We equate that to 0. So therefore, x is negative 3. Parang gano'n na lang na concept. Pero actually, dito, kasi wala naman tayong equal to 0 dito, pero dito siya galing. 'Di ba? Kasi x plus 3 kasi siya. So therefore, kung ang form niya is x minus k, then, ang k natin should be negative 3. 'Di ba? So that would be x minus, ang k natin should be negative 3 para maging x plus 3. Yun yung ibig kong sabihin. Okay? So gano'n na lang. If nag-divide tayo ng x plus 3, that means yung isa-substitute natin sa function is negative 3. Okay, yung value ng x when this binomial is equal to 0. Okay, so let's do that. So ang atong f of x, yung f of x natin is this. So let me just copy that. Then let's try to look at the value if x is equal to negative 3. So that would be negative 3 raised to 4 minus 10 times negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 plus 4. So that would become 81, positive 81. Then this would become 10 times 9, 90. So minus 90 plus 6 plus 4. Okay, what will happen? So this is negative 9 and this is 10. So that's equal to 1. So the remainder is 1. Yun yung answer natin dito. The remainder is 1. So that's the remainder theorem. Now, using the remainder theorem, we can now see what the use of this for the factors, diba? Or the zero of a polynomial. So, if the remainder is 0, if r, which is f of k, ulitin natin ha. If r, which is f of k, equal to 0, therefore, the quotient is a factor of the polynomial. Kasi na 0 yung polynomial. Diba? Or 0 yung remainder niya kasi. Okay? So let's have that example later. But let's proceed to our next problem. Ito. So let's just try this one. Using remainder theorem. So use the remainder theorem to evaluate the function. This is problem 10-8. Use the remainder theorem to evaluate the following function. At x equal to negative 2. Okay. This is the same as dividing this by x plus 2. Ayan na. Because x equal to negative 2, it transpose that here, that would become x plus 2. So this is actually the same, or yung hinahanap dito is the same as divide, getting the remainder when we divide that polynomial by x plus 2. Anyway, so tingnan natin ano yung remainder. So we have f of x, diretso na lang. Yung x natin substitute by 2, so that would become 3 times 2, negative 2. Negative 2 cubed plus 8 times negative 2 squared plus 5 times negative 2 minus 7. So, what would be the answer? That would be 3 times negative 8 plus 8 times 4, that's 20, sorry, that's 32. Tama ba? 8 times 4, 16, 16, 32. Minus 10, minus 7. Pwede calculator na lang. Negative 24 plus 32 minus 10 minus 7. So I'll have 8 minus 10 minus 7. So negative 2. So the answer is negative 9. Let us check kung by synthetic division if the remainder is negative 9. So let me do that here. Ito yung function natin, again, cube, squared, raised to 1, and raised to 0. So, yung coefficients niya, isulat natin, that's 3, 8, 5, 3, 8, 5, and negative 7. Then, we divide that by negative 2, or x plus 2 di. Ayan. So, bring down 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. That would be 2, negative 4, that would be 1, and negative 2, that would be negative 9. So the same. The remainder is still negative 9. So that's what the remainder theorem is all about. Let us try this one. What is this? Factoring a polynomial, repeated division. Okay. So how do we do this? This is problem 10 dash. What's happening? 10-9. Tama ba? 10-9. So show that x minus 2 and x plus 3 are factors of this polynomial. Ang haba, di ko na babasahin. Show that this x minus 2 and x plus 3 are factors of this polynomial. Then find the remaining factors of f of x. Okay. Again, when we say that a certain factor or a certain polynomial is a factor of another polynomial, if the remainder is 0, or if there is no remainder, or if that completely divides the given polynomial or the dividend. So, meaning, dapat, if we divide this, if we divide this polynomial by this or by this, the remainder should be equal to 0. Yun lang naman. So, this time, wag na tayo munang mag-long division. Although yung long division, that's very useful, especially dun sa mga, when we are graphing polynomials. We'll just go back to that later. Gamit lang tayong synthetic division because that's much faster and easier. So, by synthetic division. So, let's try x minus 2. So, for x minus 2, it would be like this. Let's copy the coefficients first. That's 2, 7, negative 4, negative 27, and negative 18. Okay. Then we'll have x is equal to 2. Diba? Yung gagawin natin, equate that to 0. So, x equal to 2. So, by synthetic division, bring this down. Then this times this, that would be 4. Then we add, that would be 11. Then we multiply again, that would be 22. Then we add, that would be 18. Then we multiply again, that would be 36. Then we add, that would be, ano yung answer dito? 26, 10. Is it 9? That would be 9 times 2. That would be 18. The result is 0. Oh no, I mean the remainder is 0. Yan. The remainder is 0. So therefore, x minus 2 is a factor. Lagay natin dito. Therefore, x minus 2 is a factor of f of x. Ayan. So meaning synthetic division, that's very useful in factoring polynomials of higher degrees. So let's proceed to x, yung isa, x, that was x plus 3. So let us test x plus 3. Okay. So for x plus 3, therefore, eto yung ano natin. Iso-substitute natin is negative 3. Then let's check if the remainder is 0. So if the remainder is 0 again, then it is also a factor. So do synthetic division again. So bring down 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Then this is negative 7. Positive 21. Then that's negative 6. And positive 18. The remainder is 0. So therefore, x plus 3 is also a factor of the given polynomial f of x. Now, so we know that x minus 2 and x plus 3 are factors. So since our polynomial is a fourth degree polynomial, we are expecting that there might be 4 factors of this, and so far meron tayong dalawa. Okay? So ang gagawin ko, I can use either of these. Pareho naman siyang useful. So eto na lang yung una. Using this, the factor of f of x so far is x minus 2 times, I'll use this value. So nag-start tayo sa x raised to 4, so x raised to 3 na. That would be 2x cubed plus 11x squared plus 18x plus 9. And remember that x plus 3 is also a factor. So eto pala, pwede din natin i-divide nito, then the result is 0. So let's try. Dapat yun na lang yung synthetic natin ulit, no? Anyway, sige lang. Let's still find. So how about if we do synthetic division for x, 2, I mean this one, 2, 11, 18, and 9. And yung i-divide natin, because already know na factor naman yung x minus 3 is ito, x plus 3. X plus 3 I mean. So yung negative 3 naman dito. So bring this down, negative 6, that would be 5, negative 15, that would be 3, negative 9, 0. Okay, so meaning yung f of x natin is equal to x minus 2, then the factor of this. So the factor of this is x plus 3 and this one, which is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. Now, could this still be factored out? X plus 3. Then, we also need to factor this out. Pwede tayong gumamit ng quadratic formula or by factoring lang. Yun lang kasi pag by factoring lang, by inspection lang, medyo complicated siya because of this, right? So, pwede din tayong gumamit ng quadratic formula. Okay? Okay. So, pwedeng by inspection, no? Or pwede din tayong synthetic ulit, looking at the factors of 3. Pwedeng ganun. So, by inspection, say that the factors are x and 2x. So, by trial and error, let's try 1 and 3. Pwede na? So, that would be 2x squared, then we'll have 3x, then we'll have, yan, pwede. So, that's 5x. So, eto, x plus 1. So therefore, x plus 1 and 2x plus 3. So this is the complete factorization of the given polynomial. That's it.